Yeah, I mean, we work with a lot of California investors, who are looking to, 1031 exchange out of, and that this is obviously your specialty, but, 1031 exchange out of those environments.
Absolutely. Now let's shift a little bit. And so capital gains tax solutions is kind of the focus here. So folks say, hey, look, Clayton, I have this highly appreciated property or properties, and I have a lot of debt. I went through the '08 crisis, and I barely held on, especially here in California. I know it's a lot of my clients who own multifamily and different commercial real estate assets, and they're faced with, hey, toilets, trash, liability, a lot of debt. I don't necessarily want to wait for another market cycle to hang on again. What would be your advice for preserving wealth and/or being able to shift to other states that are a little more favorable for return on investment?
Yeah, I mean, we work with a lot of California investors, who are looking to, 1031 exchange out of, and that this is obviously your specialty, but, 1031 exchange out of those environments into new construction properties that we build in West Texas and so forth, where it's very landlord friendly, diversity of jobs, where CNBC labeled it almost recession proof. They called it like the 10 recession resistant cities in America right in the middle of the pandemic. And sure enough, we haven't had any problems. I mean, the height of this pandemic. So I would stay away from touristy areas. We've noticed in the pandemic, this is an added layer of something you want to pay attention to. Vegas, Orlando, when you have 50,000 furloughed Disney World employees that may or may not get their jobs back, you don't want to play in that game. So now this pandemic has shown something to us, which is you need to be aware of the tourist problem, tourism industry being destroyed if that's an area that you invest in, Vegas, et cetera. So I think real estate in those smart areas, we have an affordable housing crisis in this country. We need 25 million single family homes or 25 million homes for people. We don't have enough of it. Construction was deemed essential in a lot of states during the pandemic because we need housing. So that's not going to change. That's not going anywhere, and that's going to continue to be important for America's renters. And then I also think precious metals. I mean, I think again, if you were talking about wealth preservation, putting it into those things that are going to sustain gold, silver, et cetera, that are going to be there, not necessarily that you're going to make a boatload of money off of them, that you're going to make millions off of it, but it's going to keep your wealth preserved through this craziness. And that's how I've been looking at it lately.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, right? So wealth diversified, wealth preserved, and it's more of a defensive stance, not as much of a creative stance. So you're just wanting to, I like to say, get your money and get your capital and get your equity, get your gunpowder dry on the sidelines, get out of debt, and let's see how it shakes out, and then look for those opportunities. We just sold a property for a client, $270,000 per unit in California, and he was looking at these cap rates going, oh my gosh, this doesn't make any sense to just buy, he sold 7 units and he's going to buy 21 and take on all this debt, and he's going, my return is like 3 to 3.5, and if something goes wrong, it quickly goes to 0%, and he goes, for what? And I go, exactly. He goes, tell me about that deferred sales trust again, right? And so he used the deferred sales trust, and his plan is exactly what we're talking about here, which is going out of California, getting out of the state and looking for places that are more landlord friendly, that are more business friendly, right? That have solid returns and a decent price per square foot.